the presentation of the Human Resources Department budget overview for the City of Bellaire for the fiscal year commencing on October 1st, 2021 and ending on September 30th, 2022, and called to table Ms. Remington.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It is my pleasure to be with you this evening and share with you the overview of the Human Resources Department and its operations. Thank you. The Human Resources Department supports the City of Bellaire in its total operations in meeting its goals for its most valuable resource, its people. In addition, Human Resources serves as a strategic partner to develop, implement, and support programs and processes that add value to the city and Bellaire and support the empowerment, growth, and retention of its employees. The Human Resources Department supports the City of Bellaire's management and prosperity for its citizens, employees, and stakeholders, and we are committed to its fundamental tenets of responsiveness, customer service, competence, safety awareness, and a positive environment and teamwork. Next slide, please. Who the department serves? The Human Resources Department is an internal services department that provides support and leadership throughout the organization through human resources programs and systems. And we serve the applicants and potential employees, the city manager, and department managers, supervisors, and employees, city council, boards and commissions, the City of Bellaire residents, and stakeholders. Kind of everyone. We're happy to do that. The department has defined 6 key categories of workflow. Our first one is talent management and full cycle recruiting. To date, for this fiscal year, we have had 119 hires. 17 new hires that are full-time authorized or authorized positions or budget positions. We have had 71 seasonal new hires and 32 rehires for seasonal employees. We have had terminations of 14 full-time and part-time employees, for total there, and 66 seasonal or temporary employee terminations. And we have had 4 retirements. These numbers also reflect the new hire processing and onboarding that we do along with the recruitment cycle, starting with the review of position and the job description to the interview questions, interview teams, and the documentation that's part of that. Our second category is payroll, salary, and benefits administration. The Human Resources Department is responsible for the complete payroll cycle and processing, which is handled through our payroll vendor, Paycom. During the last payroll period, we processed 287 payroll checks. This area also includes compensation and salary administration and benefits administration for employees for their medical, dental, vision, and other ancillary benefits. In addition, we do work closely with Higginbotham representatives throughout the year to enroll and address employee benefit issues as they arise. Our organizational development piece of our duties. This area deals with the development of our organizational work culture, employee development training opportunities, legal compliance training, and with the last year's events, this is an area that has seen limited activity, mainly focused in the interdepartmentals, and hopefully we'll be increasing that soon, back to normal. The health and wellness portion of our duties is that we do work with Health Check 360 as our health and wellness vendor, who we work closely to provide programming and wellness activities throughout the year for the employees. We work to schedule and wellness challenges for the employees each quarter, along with other activities that Health Check 360 provides. In addition, they have an excellent mobile application for the employees to use on their smartphones, which helps to increase employee engagement and participation in the program. Our organizational support, this includes the departmental providing organizational support to the department's leadership and supervisors for employee relations matters, performance management areas, leave administration, employee recognition, along with development, to name a few. One area of recent focus for us is the personnel files and the records management requirements for the department. Personnel file area was addressed during the audit findings that you had, and we have been adhering to the schedule established for reconciling this issue for a complete personnel file for each active employee. Our risk management area This area covers our workers' compensation program, our return to work program, drug and alcohol testing, and safety training. Next slide. The Human Resources Department is a two-person department that reports to the interim city manager, Frank Gary. I have one human resources coordinator within the department who reports to me, who I'm happy to have with us this evening, Allison Ford. She's a great resource for staff and serves as a key role in the department. Next slide. Thank you. Our operating budget, the department's budget has received several changes that have impacted its total over the last few years. And these include personnel changes, operating costs, and payroll and benefit expenses. The last 2 years, we have been working to document the department's budget costs for the finance department guidelines and parameters. And as a result, some of these areas have had some cost shifting to adjust for these costs to meet these guidelines. In the area of professional services, this is one area that has seen the cost shifting. Our professional services include our benefit provider costs and pre-employment costs. Contract services, this is an area that reflects our vendor costs such as Paycom, government jobs, or NeoGov, the applicant tracking software that we use, and recruiting.com. We have had increases in this area for additional Paycom features that we have purchased. Those features have helped to streamline and correct deficiencies with payroll and records management for the department. Our materials and supplies is just the cost that reflects employee recognition, such as service credit awards for the employees, retirement plaques, employee engagement, and wellness activity costs, holiday luncheons, along with the department's expenses. Next slide, please. The department documents 20 performance management indicators for the city, and they include the following. You see the overall hours that are paid for staff, and the percentage completing the probationary period, total sick leave hours, turnover rates, and then, of course, our total FTE, that's authorized FTE. Next slide, please. As we reviewed this information on this slide, we did discover a clerical error on the sick leave hours used for FTE, and this slide does reflect those correct numbers for the all employees, the sworn fire, and the sworn police. So if you want to make a note of that in your presentation. And then, of course, okay.
It's a little bit difficult to.
Okay, so sick leave hours used for FTE for all employees.
Like, should be 6.
Yes, that should be 6. And then for sworn police, it should be 18. And those had the total numbers instead of the percentage value in there. So it's just a fair player. Okay, so
9.8,
8.5, then 6, then 18, and 62, and then 0.
Okay.
Yes, we're sorry about that, because we realize it's better and finish our calculations. The next slide. Again, this is our risk management area, covers our workers' compensation, reflects the number of days lost for injury, workers' compensation, the numbers, and then it breaks it down by number of FTEs, and then, of course, by our sworn fire and police. Next slide.
Just a second.
Yes.
On this human resources, the first one, workers' compensation, number of days lost to injury.
Yes.
Law enforcement. This is just police.
Just police, yes.
And that's 29 days for the quarter.
Yes, the quarter 2.
Okay.
Yeah, just this quarter.
And I think, while that did reflect Q2, I think we had at least, and I'll see if I can get Chief Lopez to confirm, I believe we did have at least 1 or 2 employees return back to duty after Q2. Is that correct?
Yes, we have.
Okay. So point being, you shouldn't see that high of a number going
For next
forward.
time, yes, we did
I
have.
understand when we have this number, it'd be interesting to have the number of participants, how many people
Are out?
are,
That's number, the 4.
there are 4.
For this quarter, keep in mind.
Right, no, but I'm
Yeah.
saying that number
Sure, yes,
is interesting because as I remember, it's when we had some
pretty serious accident, yeah.
long-term
only just like
Right.
2 or 3 individuals. And
Then,
then, because they had that whole long period, the whole quarter, you were out.
if you put a slash there in that number, that would be correct.
Thank you. All right, next slide. Our management projects for the year, for FY '21, we have been working on the service and staffing review management project, and that has been an ongoing one, and you have received updates throughout the year that have hopefully been beneficial and informative. Now, for FY '21 also, we're doing the HR classification and compensation review project. We are in the final process of compiling information from comparable cities, and we are looking forward to presenting our findings during the budget process in a few weeks. Looking ahead to FY '22, we would like to build upon the classification and compensation review project results and target additional pay plan areas that will help us to address areas of employee turnover and enhance employee development and retention through creation of job families and other pay programs that can help address some of these.
What was the last thing you said?
The last thing that we would like to build upon, that our current HR classification and compensation review plan, that we're going to be bringing in a couple weeks as part of the budget. And we'd like to enhance that into FY '22, where we could work to, address areas to help employee turnover. And then also, do some employee development and retention. Things that we could do within the pay plan, such as creating a job family, expanding incentive pay,
What's a job thing? That's the word.
a series of jobs. For example, you have a laborer, you could have a laborer 1, 2, 3. That would be built upon, experience in the position, how long they've been here, certifications that they may acquire for training, and different things like that, that we can establish that would increase their, it increases their qualifications in that job as they have experience doing the job, and it also gives them retention. They become that skilled employee that we have, and then it just causes them to stay longer with us. But it also adds an incentive to
If
stay.
ever it hurt the family.
So you create series, you can create series for clerical,
Right.
clerical is another one. So it's kind of those lower end ones that maybe have no place to go, you know, at job advancement. This way they have something that they can work towards and develop themselves.
Right.
And it's also a way for us to look for efficiencies when you have several different employees that are maybe at one pay grade that are performing a specific function for a specific area, but maybe their responsibilities could be expanded. And that, you know, for example, the customer service representatives, if you have different functions that those employees can perform, it gives you the ability to look for efficiencies to where maybe a few of those individuals could actually cover, you know, anywhere from 1 to 3 different areas of responsibility. And so what that does is that allows not only the employees to kind of create their own promotion, but it also creates opportunities for efficiencies that we can hopefully at some point have less employees dedicated to an overall function and more experienced, trained employees that can cover multiple areas at once. So that's the kind of thing that, you know, you can do with the job families. You know, CSR 1 may be able to do 1 function, 2 may be able to do 2 and 3, and as you're creating those promotional opportunities, you're also creating efficiencies in that one person who can do 3 different tasks, for example, can provide efficiencies to the city, and maybe we don't necessarily need 10 people, maybe we can do with 6 or 5 or whatever the case may be. But that's going to be the focus of that job families exploration, if you will, to really try to identify those opportunities that'll hit multiple areas that we think we need to work on.
Okay.
Next slide. In addition, we will continue to review vacancies and report personnel changes throughout the year with the goal to improve performance for the city. Lastly, the Human Resources Department will be continuing to review and develop internal processes that will ensure accurate record keeping and operational improvements and efficiencies within the department. I want to thank you for your time this evening, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Remington, appreciate the presentation. Councilmember Lewis.
Going back to your budget slide, which is 7 of 12 slides, I've got the smaller side, just a piece. But you gave some explanation of why the numbers had gone up, and particularly on professional services, but all of those numbers went dramatically up since 2019, 2020, 2021. Could you recap that? Because I don't think I caught it.
Okay. So what we've been working on is basically to make sure we're categorizing professional services correctly, defined according to the finance department's parameters.
Okay.
And some of those were done incorrectly. We have also, professional services, we also have enhanced, have purchased some Paycom features. E-Verify was one.
Okay.
That was an additional cost. And then also, like there was another Paycom feature that is in that professional services for payroll. That increased there. And so it's those types of things that, and basically we have been consistently applying it and putting them in those funds. And so it's been cleaning it up and giving a more true picture of professional costs in relationship to what the finance department guidelines have been telling us.
Okay. So this is apples to oranges when we go back to.
Yeah, and that hadn't been done consistently in the past.
Okay.
And so that's what we've been working towards, definitely define those guidelines, so we are correctly reporting.
Okay, so we look at 377,000 as opposed to 2 years ago, 246,000, right?
Correct.
And so you're saying that there was more than 246 spent in that general area, it was just allocated someplace else?
Correct. Well, there was a position vacancy at that time in 2019, so that impacted the salaries, which is part of that, and the benefits. But, yes, there was. One of the, benefits that had been, with finance had been, distributed based upon each department's number of employees, was brought into the human resources department. Instead of billing in each department, they just put everything into the HR department. So that was one of those costs, and that was pretty close to, well, I don't know the exact figure. But that was one of those costs that we absorbed in that. The additional Paycom features that we purchased, Paycom or E-Verify to bring us up to speed there, background checks, an automated system for that. And so that's really, otherwise, a lot of the benefits stayed the same for that area. I just really went there and I got my sheet. I'm sorry. I can have a better picture here for you.
And I would say if you'd like more detail on that, just let us know and we can prepare a memo and go through that, because we have that information. That's something that we've discussed, in this year's budget process, and I think there's actually one or two more things that will be shifting to HR that we talked about in terms of background checks and.
And payroll, Paycom expenses.
52% increase or $131,000. I mean, so there is something there that, I'd appreciate it. There's
sure. We'll
additional.
I do have that.
We'll get with.
I'm glad that every department doesn't have that.
I'm sorry, it's been an ongoing project for me as I've been in the department to recognize, because as I was paying the bills as well, I was like, something's not right here.
So we'll get that prepared and get that out to you all.
Yeah, and I have it. And I think truly consistency was the issue in documents.
Councilmember Tice?
This is a question first. Is HR the one that coordinates and works with the healthcare provider on those initiatives?
Yes.
Okay. One thing I would like to encourage is, if we have learned anything from the COVID experience, it is that comorbidities are deadly. And I think we had started working with the provider, and I think it was Kelsey, right, that they had a program to help with identifying pre-diabetic and diabetic, and that needs to be put on warp speed and we really, really need to work on that. Because that's the one thing that came out loud and clear was the comorbidity. So to protect our employees and help educate them and help get them to a healthier life.
Thank you, yes, we just haven't discussed that actually, last, 2 months ago.
One of my main concerns about that is we may not be able to change what happens to the employee, but if we can change what happens to their children, because that's what we're seeing, is the effect of the parents' health on the children and where that's going down the road. We're raising a bunch of kids that are not going to live as long as their parents if we don't make some drastic changes.
Yeah, thank you. We will definitely.
Thank you. Hate to be a harp on that, but I'm a medical person and
Thank you.
Councilmember Leslie?
You may have addressed this and I missed it, but, if you go back to slide, what we have labeled as slide 7, the performance indicators, the very first one of those. Let me see it. So what is that 11% on the second line? It didn't make sense.
So that is, the 11% of new hires that are completing their probationary period.
What does that mean?
So that is taking our current employees, the percentage of our FTE, and the number of new hires. So 11% are completing the probationary period. We have some that don't make it through the probationary period.
So the numerator is all probationary employees and the
Correct. So the
denominator is
number-
all employees?
Correct, so it's the number of new hires that we have within this quarter, 11% of those completed.
Wait, let me,
Mhm.
that isn't, so what is, now, I thought you had me there, but then I completely lost me. What is on that 11%, what is the numerator?
The numerator will be the number of new employees that we have with that quarter,
All right, what's the denominator?
with our FTEs.
So 11% of your FTEs are new employees this quarter. Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to figure out,
Yes, I know, and I don't have my math with me, but I can definitely verify that with you.
Well, I understand what you're asking. We don't have an 89% drop-off rate
No, we do not.
in our probationary period, so we'll,
well, no, look, I'm just, the 11% is calculated as something is the numerator, something is the denominator.
Right.
What are they? It doesn't make any, the way it's worded doesn't, I just want to understand what you're.
we'll get that information
Yeah,
to
and
council.
they have definite definitions for us, and I can provide that with you.
All right, that'd be great, thank you.
Thank you.
Council, any further questions? Thank you, Mr. Remington.
Thank you.
Next order of business is a